One evening, Thomas the Tank Engine was returning home after another long and busy day. Percy was already in the yard, and getting ready to leave with the mail train.
Hello, Thomas. How did things go in your passenger runs today?
Alright, I guess. I took some tourists to Dryor so they could go on a sightseeing flight in a DC-3, and helped Mrs. Kindly get to Knapford for her shopping. So it wasn't all that different from what I usually do. But there was a stupid incident I saw at the top station around lunchtime.
Don't tell me the Fat Controller's trousers fell down in front of the passengers again!
Not this time, thankfully.
Did he suffer the consequences of having breakfast at Taco Bell again?
No, he didn't do that either. It was actually two people recording a silly dance for their social media page. Why anyone would do that sort of thing at a fucking railway station, let alone any public place, is anyone's guess. And what's worse is that they harangued anyone who got in their way.
The nerve of some people! I'm referring to the dancers, of course. It sounds like the sort of thing that Norfolk and Western 611 would talk about on his show.
Yes, indeed it does. Anyway, I don't suppose there's anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well, just before my driver went home for the night, he was telling me about his recent trip to New Zealand, of all places.
Sounds interesting. I don't suppose he saw KA942 or DC4571 while he was there?
I'm afraid not. Blasted thing's hidden away in a shed at Plympton, and the DC was shipped off to Africa with 4 of her classmates earlier in the year.
Perhaps he ought to really plan ahead for next time, in case 942 ever runs an excursion again. But I dare say he might end up having to settle for JA1271 instead. Not saying that the JAs are rubbish, mind.
The good thing is that he found other rail activity to occupy his time, even if it was mostly the Matangi electric trains. I hear they're decent units, if not, a little boring. Afterwards, he had a look at the Hataitai bus tunnel before going for dinner at a Japanese restaurant. I think it was on Courtney Place in the city centre. Thomas! Where the hell are you going?
But Thomas didn't answer. It was as if something had sent him into a trance. He just kept rolling on right down the line like Jerry Rafferty. The next morning, Percy had to take Thomas's passenger train to Whawhakwa. The little green 040 had a guaranteed connection with Henry at Elsbridge Station. You look glum, little Percy. What's up?
It's about Thomas.
Been forced to binge-watch BWBA again, has he?
No, not this time. Last night, I was telling him about what my driver got up to in Wellington, and then he suddenly ran off before I could get to the part about a little red funicular. I haven't seen him since.
Really? That's most unlike our number one.
You're telling me! And his disappearance has buggered our schedule harder than you can say.
No, Percy, stop. I already know where you're going with that analogy.
What I meant was that the other engines on our line, myself included, are having to cover for Thomas's work as well as their own. You should have seen the look on Daisy's face this morning when the Fat Controller told her that she had to take a coal train up to the top station.
For the sake of my sanity, I'm glad I didn't. In any case, I must be going now, or I'll be late for my next stop at Crovan's Gate. Goodbye, Percy, and good luck for finding Thomas.
Thank you, Henry. I'll see you later.
Percy tried to focus on his work, but he kept worrying about what might have happened to Thomas. As he went about his work, he voiced his concern to the other engines on the Whawhakwa branch, and they all kept an eye out for the E2 as they ran up and down the line. Despite all of their combined efforts, Thomas was still nowhere to be seen. One night, after Toby brought the last train down from Fafaqua, Percy obtained clearance to proceed up to the old lead mine, having exhausted all other possibilities for where the E2 could be hiding.
There you are, Thomas! We've been worried sick about you these past few days!
Clear off, Percy. When it comes to engines allowed in this yard, only the lonely can play.
Yeah, right. The motels are totally relevant to this situation. Can't you just cut to the chase and tell me what's wrong?
Wouldn't you like to know, Dirty Percy?
Don't start that shit again!
Alright, fine. I was upset at you mentioning Courtney the other night.
Who the hell is Courtney?
A locomotive that I used to work with while I was still in Brighton. She was a B1 class 042 tender engine.
The same type as Gladstone, right?
The very same.
Wait, just a minute. I wasn't referring to any locomotive the other night. Courtney Place is a street.
Oh, now I get it. The one I'm remembering has a slightly different spelling.
In any case, can you at least explain why this locomotive is so important to you?
All I'll say for now is that she was a good friend that I deeply miss.
Oh, I see. Has she been scrapped?
Oh, hell no. She's still around, although I can't remember where she's based. In any case, I'll never forget the day she stood up for me in the face of a horrid T9 tender engine visiting from the LSWR, and then there was the day when we double-headed an excursion to Eastbourne and back. And on the return trip, I wouldn't have made it up the climb from Lewis to Falmer if it wasn't for her help.
She sounds like quite a caring sort.
Yes indeed, Percy. We caught up again last year at very short notice, but I'm sorry to say that I haven't seen her since.
Are you sure you didn't see Gladstone and got the engines mixed up?
No, I'm sure it was my old friend. We weren't even at the NRM, so it couldn't possibly have been Gladstone. And it sure as hell wasn't 61306 or 61264 either.
Aren't those latter two completely different B1s?
Yes, I was about to say as much and all.
In any case, I guess every victory has a taste that's bittersweet. That one day last year might be the last time you see her, but at least you've still got the good memories from the days when you two worked together.
You make a fair point, Percy. And before I forget, I suppose I should ask how Toby, Daisy and Mavis are getting on.
They've been working their damn wheels off since you decided to make like in excess and disappear. They want you back faster than you can say. The CSX heritage units all look like shit, especially 1973.
I never knew a James Blunt song could be so divisive.
Not that 1973, you cockwomble! Come to think of it, 1900 is another especially hideous heritage unit.
Cue the massive arguments in the comments section.
Oh, I don't mind. I'm already dead inside after my driver got me to listen to Tony Basil's Mickey the other night. Who knew that an engine driver could have such a strong interest in goofy one-hit wonders?
In any case, and for the time being, I would prefer to stay here for a little while longer. And you can pass the message on to the others when you get the chance. I'll come back when I'm ready and not before.
As you wish, Thomas.
And with that, Percy set off for his return journey to Elsbridge, and eventually Tidmouth. Meanwhile, Thomas was left to sit and think, with his only company being his driver and fireman, who kept the engine's fire going for the sake of keeping warm, and the eerie silence of the abandoned mine. You know what? Fuck it. There's a lot to see in this life. I'm not wasting it here.